All right, we've got a 2006 Honda Pilot with a 3.5 liter engine. We're going to do some valve cover gaskets. Now this engine is the Honda J35. There's about 21 versions of the J35 engine, and this is the J35A9. Here's our gasket set. We have 2 for the valve covers, 6 for the spark plug tubes, and 10 for the bolts that hold it on. These valve covers are leaking so much oil that it's dripping down the side of the engine, and you can see it all over the side and bottom. We're going to start by removing the intake manifold. I like to separate the throttle body from the intake manifold, and there's also some other plugs and hoses that have to be disconnected. We'll start by getting some of these hoses and wires out of the way. Taking off the throttle body. Now you don't have to separate the throttle body. That's just how I like to do it, because there's 2 coolant hoses underneath, and it's trouble I don't want to deal with. There's 12 bolts that hold this one cover on here. Pop that off. And then there's 9 nuts and bolts that hold the intake manifold to the engine. And then I like to put blue painter's tape over the intake so that no nuts or bolts or debris falls in there. I like to start with the harder side first, so we're going to begin with the rear of the engine. We're going to start by loosening all of the electronics so that the wiring harness can be moved a little bit to give us some more working space. We got the ignition coils coming out. Loosen up this wiring as much as we can. Pop the cover off and kind of fish it out of there. Now, many Honda engines use grommets on the bolts that hold the valve cover down, and it's really not too difficult to get these off. There are 2 pieces, half metal, half rubber. You separate the metal from the rubber, you cut the rubber piece off, and the metal half will just slide right off. Now you can clean off the bolts, and then it's ready to pop the new grommets on. You just grab them and push them on. After that, we're going to want to get those spark plug tube seals out. Right, they should just pop right out. And then you can grab a socket that's roughly the same size as the seals, push them in, and then give them a little whack to fully seat them. We'll clean out the area where the valve cover gasket goes. It's only going to go one way, and I think they are side specific. There's a little dimple that fits into a little groove, and you want to make sure those line up. Now when you go to put your valve cover back in, you want to make sure those seals are fully seated around the tubes so that they don't leak. And then install everything the way it came out. And now we're on to the front side. And it's going to be pretty much the same process. We're going to loosen up all the electronics, remove any hoses that may be connected, take the ignition coils out, all the bolts that hold it down, and then pop it out. And then the same process for the bolt grommets and the spark plug tube seals. And then put it all back together.